All right, guys. So today's topic, or tonight's topic, I should say, is faith or worry. The choice is yours. And so this makes so much sense because I feel like a lot of my readings and a lot of my messages that I've been trying to put out or putting out have been a lot about having faith or like lacking faith, right? And just kind of like going with the flow, right? A lot of my oracle card readings are like just go with the flow, trust, right? Trust, and like trying to break us out of these cycles of worry, out of fear, okay, illusions, trickery, right? That all can come from worry, fear, and anxiety, okay? And that's my whole point. Is like I really want to try to flip that around for the collective and really start focusing more on having trust and faith, okay? And realizing that it's not always the things that we can see, okay, but it's actually more important on the things that we don't see, okay? And of course, those are the things, the unknown, right? It causes fear, anxiety, worry. It snowballs into like this false reality sometimes that can escalate into really dangerous addictions and so on. It says, this is from Psalms 55:22, and it says, cast your fears on the Lord and he will sustain you. It says here, it said, it isn't hard work that causes mental, spiritual, and ultimately a physical breakdown. It's worry. Work that is free of worry is stimulating and enjoyable. It gives substance to your daily life, and it also confers a feeling of belonging to the human family and contributing to the well-being of the human race. It says here, it is worry that exhausts you, because if you are worried, you cannot achieve anything constructive. Worry alienates the willing worker from the rightful inheritance and true purpose and satisfaction of life. That is so true. However, the greatest tragedy of worry is that it estranges you from God, okay? It definitely like pulls you away from God, right? Because we almost start not believing in what God's been showing us or what the Holy Spirit or the divine has been guiding us to do. Okay. Faith and worry cannot cohabit in the same life. If your faith is a living reality, there is no space for worry. But if worry is a dominant force, faith will wither and die. Worrying can also easily become an indulgent habit, right? I was just saying that. Only a radical adjustment of your thought pattern can free you from worry. Having a practical faith in optimism of God and his purpose for life is essential. Always remain optimistic. Check. I'm really good at doing that. I'm good at doing that. I will say that. I definitely will give myself kudos for that. And people almost find it like really innocent, like an innocent thing, and I'm like, what? I don't understand. Like, why is that cute? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my husband was like the other day, he's like, that's so cute. He's like, I love your optimism. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that's like, what do you mean? Right? We should all have that kind of attitude. Because it's like, why always look on the negative side of shit, you know? Anyways, so it says the conviction of all things work together for the good of those who love God should be the dominant thought in your mind. Then you will experience the renewing power of living faith, which is the death knell of all worry. Merciful Lord, from today onwards, I am determined to not allow worry to spoil the beauty of my life or to destroy my faith in you. Amen. And last part, it says, when I look back, I remember the tale of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had many problems in his life, but the most of them never actually happened. And that is from Winston Churchill. Wow, that was like a really good message. So I always like flip open. I have two of these like devotionals, and I have one in the car and I have one in here, and I just kind of flip my finger and I just go based off of it, even though it has the dates on here, like every day of the week and of the months of the year. But I just kind of read it wherever I like to flip stuff, right? I just kind of like random like see, right? No, Jeremiah 29:11, that actually is on here. So that is one of like my favorite. Actually, I want to get it tatted. Is Jeremiah 29:11, because it's so true. Like, God has a plan for our life, right? He doesn't want to, lead us down the wrong path. He wants to prosper us, right? He wants us to prosper in life. He does not want to like lie to us. He doesn't want to lead us down a dark path. He's never going to lead us astray, okay? And definitely if you are in like a dark situation, or you've been like through some like warfare, like some really crazy like situations, he's gonna keep you protected. Like, nothing's gonna happen to you, okay? And like, you know, it's normal because like everyone, like I have like my moments where like I kind of like panic a little bit and I'm like, oh my gosh. But really I think mine's more like just being impatient. I am very impatient. Okay. I'm very used to working like very quickly. So I feel like here, like as a human, it's very hard for me because I feel like if you're working in the speed of light or you are like not from here, okay, I feel like things happen very rapidly and quickly. So it's very hard for me to understand the way that it is here. If that makes any sense. Some of you it will, and some of you are like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? But anyways, okay, and I feel like a lot of my oracle readings have came out like about having faith and just trusting, right? And learning how to trust and have a relationship, you know, with the divine, and realize that things are going to work out. Like, no matter what, like everything that you don't have at that moment or whatever, you know, time in your life, it's because you're not supposed to have it, right? It's for a reason, okay, is what I'm saying. It is for a reason. It is very significant in your lessons that we have to learn here that leads us to the blessings in life when we have faith, okay? You know, I was talking to somebody recently, not that long ago, about my struggle personally, and I remember being in a hotel room. I was pregnant with my seventh child, okay? And I had all my kids with me, and we were homeless, and we lived in a motel, okay? In Reseda, California, 818. And I remember sitting there crying. And I remember like all by myself sitting there alone, and I was like, how the fuck did I end up here? Like, how did my life get here? You know, and in the same concept of like positivity, there's been moments too where like it's so good and I'm like, wow, like how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? But I remember at that very specific moment, I remember just crying, like, and like literally thinking like, why? Like, why? If I have such good intentions and I have a good heart and like I'm doing all this stuff like for the better of like humanity, then like I don't understand why I lost everything. I literally was like Job. And I had opened a nonprofit. I taught classes on like other moms, how to be self-sufficient, you know, at one point. And then it was like, I had just started losing everything. And so I remember, and it was like, literally we lost everything. Me and the kids lost like everything. I went through like a really nasty divorce. And it was pretty nasty. It was 5 years ago when this all started. And so, I mean, and now I have my true divine God ordained partner, okay, who I am so grateful for. And I can't thank him enough that had I not gone through that time, I would have actually never like ran into him. And the way that I ran into him, which is like another story, which is like really crazy, okay? One day we'll have to make like a video together, but it was just like really amazing how everything just kind of like fell like together or like came together. And it was a hard time, like don't get me wrong, because you know, it was not easy. I might have made it look easy, or some people really, like my clients or students, didn't really know what was going on, but it came to a point where I was like, I couldn't hide it anymore. And so anyways, long story short, I always had really good intentions. And so I just didn't understand like why all these like bad things were happening to me. Right. But then I had to understand, right. I had to realize that God had bigger plans for me, and whatever I was doing at that time was great, but I felt like it had gotten distorted a lot by, you know, karmic family members at that time. There was a lot of people I feel like were like definitely backstabbing me or like betraying me to like the 10th power. And I was just kind of like somebody that was almost like used to that. So I was just kind of like putting up with it. And God was like, no, these people cannot be in the plan. Like, sorry, like they're going to disrupt my plan. And they already kind of have ruined it in a way where it's not as pure and as beautiful and innocent as it should have been when I gave you that idea, right? Or I gave you that plan or that vision. So God had to literally tear everything down, and I just had to have faith. And I remember in that moment in my hotel room while I was sitting there bawling my eyes out by myself with my kids and no car. We were like down to like our last clothes. All of our clothes were dirty. And I was in this shelter program at this point that I once like supported through my nonprofit, okay, which is like kind of odd. And like we worked together with like events and stuff like that. And so I'm in the beauty industry, or was for a long time. Anyway. And so, I remember at that very moment thinking in my head, like, why? Like, I wasn't all like, why, Lord, why? No, just like, I wasn't, I was just kidding. No, but like, I was just crying to myself, like, really bad. And I was like, why? Like, I mean, I really was like in my head, like, why? And I remember at that moment, I had such a strong communication from the Holy Spirit, that had literally spoke to my spirit. It wasn't like, Sarah, we're telling you you're okay. Like, it wasn't anything like that. Like when God spoke to, like, the whole burning bush situation, it was nothing like that. So anyway, it was nothing like that, guys. But it was literally, because when I feel like the Holy Spirit, personally, I can feel what they're saying. Okay. Who they are, don't ask me. Okay. It's the divine. It's the people from up there. Okay. And I really had this strong communication where they had told me that it was going to be okay. It just had to be this way. Specifically, those were the words spoken through to me, through my spirit. What I was feeling is that they told me it had to be this way. And so at that moment in time, even though I wept and I cried and I was not in the greatest situation, I basically felt like, okay, I know in this moment it fucking sucks, but I felt such a relief. I can't even tell you. It was like such a relief, because I knew in my heart of hearts and deep down in my soul, I knew it was going to be okay. I knew that it was going to be okay. And so, because that's what they told me. And that was the faith. And I could have sat there and worried and been like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, there's always a way out. Okay, God will always give you a way out. And let me just tell you, like, I also had another reading, right? And this has to do with worry. A lot of times it's like, a lot of us won't, like, we don't have, like, family or like a support team. Okay. Or people that are just going to come in and like rescue us and like save the day. Right. So God will provide other resources in the world for us to utilize publicly. Okay. Whether that be a shelter, whether that be a program, whatever the case is, take advantage of those things that people are offering, because they have some really good programs, to help parents and, even like domestic violence. Okay. Which is something that I've had battled with most of my life, basically all my life. Even with that, there's like awesome programs that you guys can go into. Even like people that, and they're really good about, like, there was, even somebody that I know that went into a program before I went into a program that I like referred them to, before I lost everything. But it was like, they helped her get her papers. They helped her, establish like a really good fucking job. They got her a pad. She got herself a whip, like, and it's like, there's help out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though like we were like, some people were like really stupid. Like, they're like, oh my God, you're getting free hotels. And I'm like, you mean motel, hotel, not the Holiday Inn? Like, horrible. Okay. Like, fucking bedbug infested, crackhead infested, fucking ghetto, fucking one didn't even want to give us toilet paper. Like, it was really fucking, I'm telling you, we're gonna have to get into that another time. But point is like, I didn't worry about shit. And I remember Aubrey's dad was like, oh my God, like, how are we gonna fucking, and I was like, don't worry about it. I remember like looking at him like, why are you so worried about it? Like, it'll be fine. Like, it'll work itself out, right? Because I'm like, what's gonna happen? Like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, even though I went through a lot of shit, like, I guess it was like, fuck it. But at the same time, like, Spirit obviously had spoken to me a couple times throughout that, like, homelessness or whatever that we had experienced for a couple years, with like getting like into housing and all this shit, right? And it was like so clear than crystal. Okay, right? Like, I knew it was on the right path. I knew that this was gonna be the right thing to do, because I had like 3 confirmations throughout that time where I like had major breakdowns, where I was just like so sad. And it wasn't like sad because like I did miss my home at first, but it was more like I was just sad because I was like so tired, and I felt like I didn't deserve to go through that. And I didn't understand like why I had such a, I guess, like, I'm not trying to play like, oh, poor me, but it was like, I really, truly, honestly, really did my best, to do everything like the right way and do the right thing and, you know, be this good person, but I was innocently stupid and naive. Okay. And sadly to say, I had to have everything ripped right from underneath me, and I had to start over, literally. And I mean, like, start over, like, from everything. Like, nothing in that house I used to have, or townhouse, apartment, whatever that we had before was supposed to come with me. Like, nothing. I had like the worst luck at that time. Like, I'm not even kidding. I could probably write a book about it. But had I not had faith, had I stressed and worried, right? I knew the resources that were out there and were available to me, right? I knew that I had to go through this process, right? Whether it was something that I wanted to experience or not, whether it was something I wanted my kids to experience and actually remember or not, I knew that's what I had to do because I didn't have a choice. I was not going to sit here and play beggar woman. I was not going to sit here and allow other people to control or dictate like my children, or to be underneath somebody's thumb either, who really didn't even want us to be there. Like, it's very awkward, like trying to go from house to house and like trying your best, like to get yourself established underneath other people's houses. Okay. I had, one family member who offered us to stay with them, and it was a nightmare. Okay, it was an absolute nightmare. I got treated like shit, and it was like a big old like drama. They didn't believe that I was like working. I totally got judged. Like, they thought like because I was like pretty and the way that I like to dress or my style, they thought that like I was not working late, and I was. I even like, I started just keeping the kids with me because I was like, I'm not even gonna like leave them with anyone because obviously they don't trust what I'm doing, like, which is weird. And I was doing exactly what I said I was doing. I was at work. So, you know, and luckily at that time I was able to bring my kids with me. I was able to bring my kids with me to work because it was my studio. So I could do whatever I wanted, and work whatever hours I wanted because that was what I did. So, anyways, but it was like, I did stress sometimes, but it was more like, I just kind of like did whatever I needed to do and didn't really question it so much. It was more of just like, understanding. Like, I didn't understand why. Like, I didn't see it at first. Like, well, why? Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't I just have my life this way? And why can't I just, and it was like, no, Sarah, because you don't deserve to have these people in your life. They don't deserve you. You know, they're taking advantage of you. They're doing malicious shit behind your back. Like, God saw everything, obviously, that I didn't see, you know, at that time. And that I was like, you know, God was like, no, you deserve better. And, you know, you're going to have to rebuild, but you're going to do it and you're going to get through it. And we're going to be here, you know, to watch over you. And that's exactly what happened. And I got through it. And you know what? I'm so glad that I like went through that time, and I did have faith, and I did have faith. I have a lot of faith to go through that shit with 6 kids. Okay. And it was really intense. It was really intense, but you know what? Like, it wasn't really so much of worrying. It was just more of like, why? You know what I mean? It was just more like, why? Like, I really wanted to understand, and I just couldn't at that moment. And it's like, okay, you know, sometimes we just have to like not understand the plan and just realize that God obviously wants us to prosper, and he does have a plan for our life. And even if we can't see it at that moment, it's really no one's business either to try to dictate how your lessons are supposed to be played out or what God has planned for you. Okay. So, you know, I did get a lot of judgment, a lot of backlash. I got a lot of shit. People tried to like, almost, it was like everyone, like not everyone, but like certain people, like I don't have a big family, but like the people I did have that were like immediate family, like they all were like kicking me when I was down, didn't offer shit. You know, my mom, who we don't have a great relationship, she only offered for my kids to stay there, and I couldn't. It was like a really big drama. She would like try to dictate like when I could come get them or when I could come say hi to them after work or before work. It was like really crazy. So I was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to take the kids and we're going to shelter. Okay, bye. Like, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. Like, people really are not understanding, like, or having the heart to just kind of help us out right now. Okay. And realize how much I had to like rebuild because I had lost and gained. And then I just was like, fuck it. I'm not even going to hold on to anything. I'm just going to have faith that God is going to take care of us, and fuck it. Because it got to a point where like I literally couldn't even like see my clients at certain times. I couldn't even see them because we were like taking 2-hour bus rides. You know, and eventually I had to tell the school that we were homeless, and I was so embarrassed, like why they had so many tardies. Like, why are you tardy every day? And it was like, well, because we have to leave at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And then by the time we get to our motel after like work, and like I get the kids from 3 different schools, like we don't get there until like really late. So it's like I had to explain all this stuff, and it was just like really traumatic. But I had faith. I had faith. Did I worry a little bit? Not, I mean, I worried, but not really. Like, it was more of like just, I was really sad. You know, and it was like the anxiety of like if the Uber driver was going to leave us there or not. Because we had situations where literally the Uber driver would like abandon us because he saw all the kids and like our luggages, and like they were like, that's a lot of stuff. Like, I don't think you can fit in here. And I'm like, yeah, I can. And they're like, well, how many passengers do you have? And I'm like, what the fuck does it matter, bro? Like, it says fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I obviously am paying for the Uber that's for the fucking like large one. So it's enough to fit, you know, 6 little kids in here and a fucking grown woman, bitch. Like, you know, it was like really bad. Like, people really treated us like dirt. And I mean like really badly. Like, the kids were tired. It was summertime. You know, so it was like I really had to have faith that like things were going to work out regardless of how hard it was and how much I struggled by myself with these kids, you know, and how much shit people literally did to me during that time and did not have any empathy for us and did not care to like look at things from another perspective, and really judged us a lot. You know, and just fortunate. I'm just really grateful that God really did like expose the hearts of these people, because I really did see like who was real and who was fake, and pretty much everyone was fake. Like everyone literally. Like, I don't talk to any of those people anymore. Business partners, like all kinds of shit. Like I don't talk to anyone anymore. So it's just me and the kids, guys. Like, God was like, you need to rest. So, you know, sometimes we just need to understand too. And I'm so used to going, that it's like, yes, it is hard for me to rest, because I'm one of those people that's like, okay, I have 7 kids. I have 2 dogs. I have this. I do this. I have my own business. I had this. You know, at one point it was like, da, 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 da. And I was just, that's the pace I'm used to going. Like, Sarah's, if I sit here and have nothing to do, it's weird. That is a challenge for me. Literally, that is a challenge for me, is to sit and not do a fucking thing and like just watch a movie. Okay. ADHD to the fullest. Just saying. Okay. So I am definitely a woman of many and plenty. Okay. Like, I have to constantly be doing shit, or I'm like weird. You know what I mean? Like, I have to have a project. I have to, you know, so like really that was the challenge for me. It's like, my challenge is like, just resting. Like, okay, Sarah, you went through a lot. You established some things. You let go of a lot of things, basically everything. I literally had to let go of everything that I've ever known my whole life. And God really had to rebuild me from the ground up, and the kids, okay, and reestablish even my relationships with my kids, because we had so much stress at that time. It was like a very hard time for me and the kids. It was something that it really damaged the relationship between me and my oldest daughter. It was like really crazy things, but I just had to have faith also in the fact that God is going to take care of that situation in time and bring healing to the situation. Okay. If I focus so much, like, the devil really does have a way of like tricking us or placing worry in our minds. Like, I can't tell you, you know, how many times I did worry about my daughter. Like, well, where is she? Like, you know, because she's so much older. My daughter's almost 18. And I'm not used to having my daughter like not be with us. So it was like really hard for me. And I really did my best as a single parent. And I did my best with the circumstances that I was in or given at that time. And so, you know, another thing was like, gosh, like I would worry. I would get anxiety. Like, I would literally worry about my daughter. Like, I would call her dad, like, you need to watch her and see where she's going. And I'm so used to having such a tight leash on my kids, or like knowing where they are, that like I wasn't used to this side of my daughter. So it was like very hard for me to realize that she's like out in the street somewhere. And I'm like, right? Because I'm like, I didn't raise these kids to be street kids, you know, but now she has that freedom since she's with her dad and I'm in hotels. So she has that freedom, and it's like, no one can make her do anything. And I'm like, okay. You know, and I mean, really took me a long time to finally realize, like, hey, God, you have to put full and complete trust, even with the kids. You know, my dad had told me, you know, I talked with my dad, and You know, and he's like, well, do you remember, you know, we had to just kind of like let you go and be your own person. And like, we, as much as we wanted to worry about you and we did worry about you, he's like, I just had to trust in the Lord. And I was like, wow, like, he's so right, you know? And I was like telling him, yeah, Dad, but you don't understand, right? It's like, you know, my dad's right. Dad hate, you know, like my dad, you know, it made sense. And I just kind of had to realize like, okay, Lord, you want me to have trust in you, like, and really like 1000% trust, like, okay, fine. You know what I mean? Like, so as a parent, sorry, you guys, as a parent, that's something that was like very hard for me, because yes, I could give up my house, I could give up my car, I could give up our clothes on our back, I could have given up all the money in the world and have all my money taken from me and not have a fucking place to live. But as long as I have my kids, right, it was like I didn't give a fuck where we were. Like, I just want to make sure that we were a family, we stayed together. And so it was like realizing that I didn't have control, and even the things that we can't control, but we can control our reactions, right? That was another thing that was like, even like one time during the time that we were homeless, it was like her dad was like, I can't find her. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find her? And of course I'm panicking. You know, I had my mom call me like, Jose said he can't find her. And I'm like, what do you mean? You know, and I found her right away and I was pissed. Because I was like, how the fuck do you lose her? And I find her with no GPS, no way to track her because nobody could get a hold of her. Her phone was off. It was crazy. Like, so the amount of like panic and the amount of stress that like I had gone through and have like had to let everything go, that was something that was really hard for me as a parent to really realize. Like, I have to, like, that means I have to give everything to God, because everything, including myself, belongs to him, right? Even my children belong to him. So I have to really have that faith that God in time is going to mend that relationship whenever that time is right. And so it was, you know, it's hard when you want to constantly worry about shit, but you just have to kind of let it go and just trust. And you have to really seriously believe that like God really is in control. And keyword believe, right? Faith or worry. It was like, I would rather have faith than worry any day of the week, because I can't carry all these burdens by myself. Like, I can't. All right. I already carry enough shit as it is. I do a lot. I'm a woman of many and plenty, like I said. So it's like, I already have enough on my plate. So it's like anything to lighten my load and have faith in God and realize that like I'm giving my heart to him. I'm giving my children to him, and realizing that he's in control and we are not. Like, we can only be in control for so long before it's like, okay, so we're going to be crying anyways, right? Whether we worry or have faith, right? We're still going to kind of cry. We're still going to stress a little bit sometimes. It's like, okay, I have faith. And like, you know, again, my thing is impatience. Like, I get impatient. Okay. And I'm like, okay, God, so like, I know it's coming, but like, can we, you know, speed up the process here? Let's go. You know what I mean? So it's like that. Okay. With me personally, okay. With me. And there's times where like I cry because I'm just like, how much longer? It's like a little kid, right? It's literally like a little kid. Or like you tell them you're gonna take them to the park or something, you know what I mean? And it's like they're waiting and waiting, like, can we go to the park now? Can we go to the park now? Can we go to the park now? Can we do this? Remember you said? It's like kind of like that, okay, but like with God, okay? I'm definitely his child. So I hope that whatever stories that I had shared with you, my personal stories and of faith and my personal stories of worry, I hope that this, you know, really helps you guys understand what that is and why I'm saying this. I'm not just reading it. I'm not just saying it to talk the talk. I talk and I walk. I skip, run, jump, cartwheels, ninja shit. You know what I mean? Like, I walk the walk, okay? But I just wanted to share those with you because I felt like they were very significant to kind of bring you guys some kind of inspiration or hope and realize and understand that God is in control. And definitely it is better to have faith than to worry. I'm hoping that this will bring some and shed some kind of light on your dark situation that you're going through right now. Okay. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.